So just to recap what we covered in class last week, is drawing roads and then using the pen tool to create different elements on your map. So first of all, I've just taken this image, who's my visual inspiration for my map for the first assessment. And I've noticed that on this particular map we've got a lot of roads that travel all around the country. So I'm going to show you a really easy way to make roads. First of all, let's take a look at how not to make a road. So I'll just pick a better fill colour because white isn't going to work. Okay. So some of you in class, I've noticed, have been drawing roads that look like this. And the problem with these kinds of roads is that they're really uneven and it's quite difficult to get an even thickness across the whole path like they have here. So an easy way to draw this road is just to take your pen tool again and change the fill to a stroke. And then I'm just going to draw a path. Now the closer the points are together, the more complex and detailed the path is going to be. But we don't want to do that for the time being. We've got nice big curves on this road, so I'm going to do a similar thing here. So I make my, my points relatively far apart and I click and drag to create curves and bends and just make them look as big and as road-like as possible. Okay, that looks good. So the next thing I'm going to do is actually change it from fluoro green to black. And then with my path selected, so I just deselect and then click with the black arrow tool. I then go up to stroke and I start to increase the stroke so that it looks like, right, so that's looking pretty good. It's got a good thickness. Now there are a few areas which look a bit strange. So over here is one area and over here is another area. So to edit my path, I just need to direct select an anchor point, and we do that using the white arrow. So I click once on my path and then I see the closest anchor point is this white square here. So I'm just going to drag that out, but then I'm going to make my curve much softer by pulling out the handlebars. Okay, so I can adjust that any way I want. I can even adjust these handlebars. Okay, and then this was the other area I thought looked a little bit strange. So again, click on the handlebars because the point is in a good spot. It's just the degree of the curve. Okay, so that's looking pretty good. Now, the next thing that the Kuan and K-Tron map has is this yellow dashed line running through the middle of it. So how we do that is we should duplicate this stroke instead of trying to retrace a dotted line over this stroke, because otherwise we'll be sitting at the computer for hours. So I highlight the stroke, I press Command C on my keyboard, and then just leave that. The computer remembers that you've copied that shape, and we can move on and come back to that in a second. So you're going to highlight your path, and now we need to change it from a stroke into an object or an outline. And the reason again for that is if we reduce the path, then the proportion doesn't scale correctly. So I hit undo, go object, path, outline stroke, and you know that it's an outline now because it's changed from the blue line in the center, which means it's a stroke, to a blue line around the outside. So we copied and pasted that path previously. We're going to paste that in place using the shortcut Command F on your keyboard. Then we'll change the color, say to yellow, pick better looking yellow, that's good. And then we've still got the stroke. So I can reduce my stroke all the way down. And the reason that, you can't get a stroke back from when you convert an object into an outline. So it's always best to work from the stroke. Much easier. Okay, so make it 3 point. Now Illustrator under the stroke palette on the right hand side, it's the 3 horizontal lines. If you can't see that, go up to Window Stroke and it will open that palette for you. So then we hit dashed line and 12 point actually looks pretty good. Alright, so there's my road. Super happy with it. There's just one more thing we need to do, and I'll give you a hint. So if I shrink that, then again my stroke doesn't look that great. So I'm going to hit undo, select on the dotted line, and then go Object, Path, Outline Stroke. So highlight all, press Ctrl G to group the objects, and then there's my road. And so you can create an infinite number of those for your map design.